Hey guys, what is going on? This is Wrestlelamia, back with another episode. The news never stops, and neither does Wrestlelamia. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including Seth Rollins' row with Vince McMahon, is AEW interested in Braun Strowman, Goldberg's motivation for working Saudi Arabia, and more. Rollins Row with the Mad McMahon. Topping the news today is a wild report on a heated argument that occurred between WWE Kingpin Vince McMahon and Seth Rollins. Rollins, who recently appeared on the Broken Skull Sessions podcast, talked about a time when he was called into Vinnie Mac's office back when creative had nothing for him. I had a conversation with Vince. He brought me into his office one time. It's the middle of the summer after the Hunter match, and I'm in the middle of doing nothing in no man's land, and he goes, "What happened to Seth Rollins? What happened to Seth freaking Rollins? Where's that guy? I need that fire." I know what he's trying to do. I have all the respect in the world for my boss and for Vince as a person. We have a good relationship, but you're not going to talk to me like that without me firing back. I fired back at him. We got into a heated discussion, an argument, and I'm like, "Look man, just give me the ball and I'll take it to the house, but you have to give me the opportunity. You put me in a bull situation where I'm having to fill in these spots and I'm not getting the focus I deserve." Rollins discussed having a run with the Intercontinental Championship, a title he'd always admired due to the wrestlers who helped elevate it. "It always had a special place in my heart growing up. Whether it was Mr. Perfect, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, sometimes those IC title reigns are more fun and exciting and more memorable than world title reigns. I don't know if it's because we as performers put more pressure on it, but I really just love the IC title. I pitched to have that run. That was my idea." According to Rollins, he was happy with the idea of holding and defending the secondary title, telling McMahon, "Give me the opportunity and you'll see the guy you want to see. It's not me. Trust me. I put forth the effort every night. I make every town. I bust my ass for you. Don't give me that." He respects that. He respects when you do that and stand up for yourself. I was like, "We're nowhere with this babyface character. Give me a run as the IC champion. Let's work to get to Finn, Miz, and Seth at WrestleMania. Give me the title and let me run with it as a babyface. The work rate will get me over, I promise you. It'll take the pressure off me. Do what you want with the world title. Just let me go out there and have a good time. I promise you, you're gonna get these people to see who the real guy is." That's what happened. Rollins' reigns with the Intercontinental Championship allowed him to make his mark on the title, with Rollins having a number of memorable matches against opponents including The Miz, Dolph Ziggler, and Dean Ambrose. Seth's story is a reminder that wrestlers have little to gain against Vince McMahon unless they're willing to stand up to him. In Rollins' case, he got his way as well as two later reigns as Universal Champion. Goldberg's golden Saudi Arabia deal. Wondering why Bill Goldberg is wrestling a third time for WWE in 2021 despite his contract only requiring him to wrestle 2 matches a year? Goldberg, who fans believe will wrestle Lashley at this year's Crown Jewel, has every reason to want to work Crown Jewel, at least according to Dave Meltzer. Diamond Dave discussed the situation on Wrestling Observer Radio. "The other match that is going to be there is Lashley and Bill Goldberg, because that one won't be put on TV because Goldberg does have a specific deal with the Saudi shows that is very lucrative, and if you were going to pull his match to put it on TV, he wouldn't be happy at all. That's millions of dollars difference. It's not like the other guys who are going to get paid the same whether they're on the show or not." Goldberg is the type of legend who the Saudi Arabian officials love to see wrestle in their shows, even if $1 Million Bill is a shadow of his former self. While this may seem like a desperate move, there really aren't many top names from the legend pool who can work in Saudi Arabia due to age-related limitations. Can you think of any legends who the WWE can use to satisfy Saudi Arabia's need for nostalgia? Let us know in the comments below. AEW Seeking Strowman? Where's Adam Scherr, aka former WWE superstar Braun Strowman, heading to following his release from WWE? Scherr, whose WWE release on 2nd June 2021 shocked the wrestling world, is believed to be free from his non-compete clause, which naturally has wrestling fans wondering where he'll show up. As previously reported, Strowman is believed to be heading for Impact Wrestling, but according to Fightful Select, that's not the only company that showed interest in the monster among men. Fightful reported that AEW contacted Strowman about coming to work for the company. This is no surprise as Strowman has a strong fan following and he could add a big man presence to a company that focuses largely on smaller wrestlers. Nonetheless, the current belief is that Strowman will show up in Impact when the time is right. That shouldn't rule out a crossover though, as AEW and Impact continue to have wrestlers pop up on the other's programming. You may recall talk that Impact Wrestling is interested in signing Wyndham Rotunda, aka recently released WWE superstar The Fiend Bray Wyatt. While Impact has the deep pockets to sign both Strowman and Wyatt, Wrestlelamia has questioned just how much of a splash either or both stars could make on a show that draws roughly 100,000 viewers a week. At the same time, there's also the growing concern that AEW's roster is becoming a bloated mess. It might be in Impact's best interest to sign Schur and Rotunda with the idea of occasionally booking them in AEW. This would keep the two stars from getting lost in the shuffle while headlining Impact and bringing in AEW stars to occasionally wrestle on Impact. Where do you think Schur and Rotunda should go? Let us know in the comments below. Lana talks possible move to AEW. Is Miro's wife CJ Perry, aka former WWE superstar Lana, going to join him in All Elite Wrestling? Wrestling's Ravishing Russian recently appeared at a virtual autograph signing and was asked about AEW. Ringside News' Felix Upton reports Lana was at the East Coast autograph auctions when she answered, "Well, I'm gonna tell you, stay tuned. I can't give everything away. I can't give all the hot tea right now." CJ also had some fun recently after Sammy Guevara captured the TNT Championship from Miro, tweeting a picture of her trying to wrest the belt from the Spanish God, complete with this caption: "Hey Spanish God Sammy Guevara, you cheated, so I'm taking the TNT Championship back to God's favorite champion, Miro." Perry also revealed that she's free to use the Lana name wherever she goes. "I own that. Owning Lana is like owning the name Mike. You can't. In my contract, they own Rusev because it's so specific, but they don't own Lana because you can't. I would rather come out as Lana because at the end of the day, I would rather just not come out with my real name." It seems likely that CJ would join her husband at AEW, but might she be working on a project outside of wrestling, such as continuing her acting career? Perry has a small number of acting credits, but as fans have seen before, a person's Hollywood career can take off at a moment's notice. Dream Team challenging for the AEW World Tag Team Championship? AEW's current tag team champions, the Lucha Brothers, could be in for a major challenge if CM Punk gets his wish. Wrestling's Second City Saint recently appeared on the AEW Unrestricted podcast, discussing who he'd like to team with if he ever decided he wanted All Elite Tag Team Gold. I think there's a lot of good answers to that question, but selfishly, I want to tag with Bryan Danielson. I don't know if anybody has ever spoken about this before, but before I left Ring of Honor for WWE, we were thinking what's next for CM Punk after winning the title and all that stuff. There was a thing we were kicking around with maybe me and American Dragon teaming up. Just black boots, black trunks, kind of like a Bockwinkel and Stevens for a new era. Of course, we were both like, yeah, that sounds like something we could really sink our teeth into. I still think there's potential to do that. Having Punk and Danielson team up would be a good way to keep them out of the singles title picture for the near future and provide some fantastic tag team battles. Do you think these two stars should team up? Let us know in the comments below. Was Vince McMahon angry with Edge for mentioning the Revival? Last but not least, Edge mentioned his friends Daniel and David during the home invasion segment on SmackDown when he told his wife Beth Phoenix to stay out of the house because his friends were on the way. As mentioned in our analysis of the first October SmackDown, Edge was of course referring to his real-life friends Daniel and David, who are currently working in AEW as FTR and who previously worked in WWE as The Revival. While the line went over some fans' heads, others noticed it and laughed. However, did Vince McMahon laugh when one of his top stars mentioned wrestlers from the competition? According to a report from Ringside News, no one in the WWE seemed to mind, with a WWE source reportedly commenting, "No one backstage cared, not Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard, John Laurinaitis, or Kevin Dunn." As noted by Wrestling News' Angel Rodriguez, it's unclear if Edge cleared the line with McMahon, but given his status as one of the most trusted veterans on the roster, it was very unlikely that he was going to get heat for referencing his friends on TV. Given Vince McMahon's busy schedule, it's unlikely he even caught the mention, and as others have pointed out, he probably doesn't remember who the Revival were, let alone what their real names are. Well guys, there you have it, the wildest news, stories, and rumors you need to know in wrestling. What do you think of these stories and rumors? Be sure to leave your comments and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time for some more wrestling content.